Good morning. So today I am gonna do a bookshelf tour sort of vlog video. It's gonna be a little more relaxed. So I'm not gonna hook up my mic, so hopefully everything sounds okay. I had originally recorded me building this bookshelf because it's a new one, but I have been editing the video the last couple days and it has just been an absolute whole ass mess. So I'm just gonna re-record me talking about the books on my shelves and that will be that. So hopefully you enjoy seeing some of the books that I own. Also, look, there's Gus. He's trying to sleep and I'm bothering him. I know a lot of people on BookTube have huge collections of books, but I really don't actually buy that many physical books. I'm a big library user, and before we moved cross country about a year and a half ago, so before that move, we got rid of a ton of books. So my collection is pretty pared down, and I'm hoping to keep it relatively pared down. I want to be donating books that I'm not ever gonna reach for or reread for any reason, books that don't have any sentimental meaning. So hopefully my collection of books I can keep relatively pared down to things I actually want and not just fill up shelves to fill up shelves. But yeah, so I built this bookshelf down here to have a place to put my books down here, but also to clear up some of the bookshelves upstairs. There were just some weird things that just didn't quite have a place on the bookshelves upstairs, and it was like overstuffed. So we did need one more bookshelf. And so I brought most of my personal books down to the basement. Hi, Editing Tyler here. I am editing this video and I just wanted to give you fair warning that the camera is moving all over the friggin' place in these clips, and I just do not have it in me to re-record this video a third time. So I would suggest, especially if you get motion sick, to just listen to this video instead of watching it, because I'm an idiot. Anyways, here's me talking about the books. So this is my shelf. I built it this week. There's a little cat bed on top. As you can see, I have a little bit of space to grow into, so that's good. And I have some physical TBRs over in the corner by my desks. So some of those will eventually probably move here, but some of them will probably end up getting donated. So here we have a series of Unfortunate Events books. These are my favorite books that I read as a child. I was very into this series, and I reread it every couple of years. I am planning on rereading it in 2022. And then we have a few more Lemony Snicket books. I was not a big fan of the All the Wrong Questions series, but this copy is signed, so I held on to that one. And I believe 13 Suspicious Incidents is a All the Wrong Questions book, but I have not read it, and I am not sure if I will or won't read it at some point. Watch Your Mouth is one of the weirder books I have ever read. It was so weird, I have no idea if I enjoyed it or not. I read it in 2021, and I have no idea if I enjoyed it or not. I believe it's supposed to be told in the style of an opera, but I have no knowledge of opera whatsoever, so I couldn't tell you whether that's accurate or not. But it was just very bizarre. There was incest. There was like a golem that came to life or something.
I honestly, I have no idea what the fuck was going on in that book. But I gave it 3 stars because I couldn't tell if it was bad or not. It was, I don't know if I'll ever reread it, but it's gonna stay on the shelf for the time being. And then I have 2 more Daniel Handler books. I have Adverbs, which I have had for years and still have not read. Maybe I will finally read it in 2022. And then The Basic 8. And from there, we go into some Miss Marvel trade paperbacks. The Sailor Moon. I don't know what the collected edition of manga is called. I don't know if they're also trade paperbacks or what. But I have the 2 editions of Sailor Moon that I read, and then the 2 editions of Yowamushi Pedal that I've read. And then on the shelf below that, I have some more comics. I have the Fence series, which is about fencing in a private school. It's a little bit gay. There is at least 1 gay couple. I can't remember if there are more. And then I have a novelization of Fence with the same characters. The series March. If you've never read March, it is a graphic novel series by Nate Powell, Andrew Aiden, and John Lewis. It is about John Lewis's life and the things he did in the civil rights movement in the 60s. And it is just beautiful and moved me, and I'm pretty sure I cried in the 3rd one. I can't quite remember. I read it not this year, but last year, so I'll probably reread that. Then I have my Adventure Zone book, graphic novels, so 1 through 4. Interesting, this one doesn't have a 1 on it. I guess they didn't know if this was going to continue or not. And then I also have a signed, issue of the Adventure Zone. Then I have my nonfiction shelf. So these 3 are nonfiction that I bought in college that I had to read for classes I took and just didn't want to part with for some reason. I'm probably going to reread Heatwave maybe in this coming month. I have realized like the end of the year and the beginning of the year, so like December and January, I kind of struggle with reading just because of like the change, like it's winter and that like change in time. So I have found myself reaching for rereads. So I'm probably going to do a lot of rereading in the beginning of 2022. But Heatwave is about climate change. It's about a heat wave that hit Chicago in 1995 and the government failures to help people during that heat wave. It was published in the 2000s, so it's like 20 years old at this point. But I feel like it probably still has some things to say about climate change, even if it is a little out of date. Okay, and this is the last little cubicle on the shelf, and this is like fiction, like normal fiction, basically. So, House of Leaves, which I have talked about, my favorite book. This is like a gift shop book from Meow Wolf. I lived in Colorado for 6 years, and I went down to Santa Fe, New Mexico a number of times. And we visited Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it is an interactive art gallery exhibit. You should really look up pictures. Maybe I'll try and put some pictures here. But this is kind of like adding backstory to that art exhibit because it is like a house, and then the house has portals to other dimensions. And so that is the diary of the daughter of the people that live in that house. And I remember when I was reading Piranesi this year, I kept talking about how it reminded me of Meow Wolf, and it reminded me of that diary. And I wanted to reread it, but I thought I had actually gotten rid of it before we moved back to the East Coast. But I actually just found it, so I'm gonna reread that at some point soon too. back to the books.
Okay, it's kind of a funny story, and then a German translation of it. This was one of my favorite books in high school, and through like a contest on LiveJournal, I got this German translation that the author had signed. This was also a favorite book of mine in high school. It's kind of the first dystopian sort of book, or post-apocalyptic, I guess, really, book I ever read. It's about the nuclear fallout in the 50s and like how people live their lives after that. I found this at the Friends of the Library sale, and I really liked the cover because I had never seen this cover before, so I bought it. Catcher in the Rye, which I have not read since high school. I remember really liking it. And it's like water damaged, but this was actually my dad's copy, and I've just held on to it for like a decade at this point. I don't actually know if I still like this book. I don't really know if I want to reread it at any point, but I've just kind of held on to it for nostalgia. These are 2 Christmas gifts that I got this year. So I haven't read Pale Fire, but the friend who bought it for me also bought a copy for herself. So we'll be reading that together at some point this year. My Sweet Audrina. I was very into V.C. Andrews. I read it way too young. This was one of my favorites. And I always wanted a physical copy with the pocket cover. So I got this for Christmas. And then 3 John Green books that I haven't read in ages. An Abundance of Catherine's, Paper Towns, and Looking for Alaska.
In high school, I was very into John Green books, that YA vibe. I read Turtles all the way down this year to see if like it still was my scene, and I didn't really vibe with it. Like, I don't think it was a bad book by any means. I just think I'm too old for like a vast majority of YA at this point. I liked, well, my opinions on as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I liked the Truly Devious series, but I didn't like Box in the Woods. So I don't know what that says. Maybe there are certain types of like mystery thriller YA that I am okay with reading because they're quick and easy to read and, fun. But I just like the run-of-the-mill YA story, coming to age, teenagers doing stuff to be teenagers, just doesn't resonate with me, which, makes sense. I'm a 30-year-old lady. Okay, now I want to show you my physical TBR shelf.
So over here we have Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights. The reason it's separate from the rest of these books is I paid full price for this, and it will be it's confirmed going on to my bookshelf when I finish it, as long as I don't absolutely hate it. But over here are more discount physical books I have bought in some capacity. I bought this copy of The Great Gatsby at a used bookstore. It is very old. It has a copyright date of 52 or something. 53. And the copyright page is empty. There's nothing on it. So I wanted to reread The Great Gatsby. It's been years and years. And I remember liking it, but I cannot tell you a single plot point of this freaking book. So I plan on rereading this. And this will probably migrate to my bookshelves too if I still like the book. Then we have White Oleander, Kite Runner, which have just been kind of sitting on my Goodreads TBR, and I saw them at the Friends of the Library sale, so I bought them for $1. I picked up this copy of The Bluest Eye at the used bookstore. It's kind of beat up, so if I end up really liking this, I'll end up donating this copy and buying a newer, prettier copy. Detroit Resurrected to Bankruptcy and Back. I did my senior like independent study on Detroit, so I look forward to reading this. The Geography of Nowhere, which is about like suburbanization in America. Hollywood Park is a memoir about like a drug rehab cult sort of deal. This is actually an ARC that I got for free from the bookstore. Walkable City, about making cities walkable. A People's History of the United States. This is like a history of, well, the United States, but like from a leftist position, sort of. This is actually an older edition, so I probably won't keep this one, but I'm gonna read it and we'll see. A Study in Charlotte, I picked up this from a free little library. And then Borderland, which is also about like the history of suburbanization in America. And then a copy of Sybil, because I don't know, I have a fascination with fake non-fiction. So I actually picked up that copy of the Sybil at the same time I picked up Go Ask Alice, which I thought was going to be a fun read into fake nonfiction, but was not. I did not like Go Ask Alice. It was terrible. Hopefully Sybil will be a little more fun. But yeah, that's my physical TBR. I'm not going to show you the bookshelf upstairs. There are a few more things up there, but it's mostly my husband's books, and it's mostly just books with pretty covers that like I don't have a lot of attachment to necessarily. They're just pretty and they live upstairs. Anyways, hopefully this video turns out a little better than what I was trying to edit last time. See y'all in the next video, which will hopefully be next week. And should probably be a reading vlog of some sort. Not quite sure which reading vlog I'm gonna do first, but should hopefully be a reading vlog. Bye y'all.